Now we have the question from Shonal Biswas 1229. Can you talk about the Gandanta? We have that shloka in Sharavali, which says that it can create a lot of problems. There are mentioned those three major issues, like with the health and with finances and things like that. And then it's said that if you will overcome that, so in other words, if you are alive still, then this will make you very resilient. This will make you very strong. So the Gandanta is the situation between the water and the fire. So it's at the end of the watery sign like Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, and then it goes to the fiery sign. And I have seen many problematic cases when the planets are there. So it's not only for the ascendant or for the moon, it is for each planet. And each of these grahas in these positions will be quite vulnerable. And what is very interesting, we have this division. It could be nakshatra border, it could be 1 degree border, and it could be shastyamsa or half degree border. And each of these have different connotations according to our school. One can afflict the longevity, the other can afflict the health, the other the finances. So there is a distinction between those things. It's not that all Gandantas are the same. And also the remedy, it's either for the sun remedy or the moon remedy. Similarly, there was also remedy given to worship the ancestors, to revive or bring that graha to life. So we have also ways to deal with such positions in our school. But definitely the meanings of this planet will be afflicted, will be hit. So it is a type of panchanga, we could say, affliction or degree-centered affliction, and they can be quite serious. So if there is a Lagna or Lagna Lord or the moon, it can have serious implications of health or even longevity of the person. The next question is from El Priyanshu. Talk about Uppada Lagna, some interesting insights. So here I would like to say two things. The one is that what Uppada can replace and what cannot replace. So the good thing, maybe we'll start with the pros, with the Uppada, is that it gives that very fast indication what is going on in marriage, and then we can take those planets related to the Uppada Lagna, so the old distances from Uppada, and then we can take all those planets from the Uppada Lagna and see how they are placed in the Navamsha to get more understanding of what's going on. So very fast we can have informations about what sustains the marriage, right? And the second, what is blocking the marriage, like the 7th from Uppada, what needs to be done even to start the marriage, like Uppada is in the 10th house, you need to go to work. If you're unemployed or you're not working, then it may be a difficult situation for you to get married. Also, the sign related to the Uppada will tell you about which place it can be. Then we have situations like of the siblings, just the standard things we can also derive from the Aruda Lagna for ourselves. We can do basically the same with the Uppada. And this gives us a very strong mental level, because usually we are committing the decisions like to leave the partner or the conflicts. They are very much emotionally experienced. So the cause is very much subjective, right? And therefore this Uppada, which is the moon-centered principle. The Uppada is basically related very much to the mental concept, be it socially or internally as a manas, as a mind. Therefore, the Uppada is perfect for that. On the other way, what is the cons or what is lacking, at least for me, is when it comes to timing. Of course, we can use the Antardasha level with the Aruda. This is already confirmed that it works quite nicely. We have seen that on the Aruda Lagna, and on the other Arudas it will work too. For example, we know that the Antardasha planet will activate the Arudas in the 2nd, 5th, 9th, and 1st, of course, from the Antardasha planet. So this is very nice, also points to start when it comes to predicting. But the dynamic of the marriage, what is really going on, is, according to my experience, much, much better seen using the Navamsha now level when it comes to marriage. And the dasha, right? So it could be Narayana dasha, Audaika dasha, or the Graha dasha, and see how these various points of the Navamsha are activated in different time. And we can use that for tips, what to do, when the problem will be over, what will be the solution. So then it is better to have that whole Navamsha chart, and especially for the timing, this is much better solution. By the way, if you like to have your own consultation, 60 or 90 minutes on the Zoom, when we analyze your relationship, career life, or health, then you can find the link in the description. Now here we have from Varuna Diga, how does retrograde planets behave in the Parivartana? So here, how I would do it, I would first try to understand what the Vakri, the retrograde thing, is bringing. So I would see the sign and 7 from its placement. I would like to understand, is it benefic, is it malefic, is it lording, good house, bad house, and is it placed in a good and bad house? Because these results can differ when the planet is retrograde, or they can bring opposite results. So I would first try to understand the lordship, understanding what's going on. Like, for example, 10th lord, if malefic in the Dushtana as a strong planet, is not good, right? But if it's not lording the Kendra lord, then it is good. And the retrograde will make it again change, right, in the effect. So to ascertain what the planet is giving in the chart, we need to understand its lordship and house position. This will be very important. And then the retrograde can change that. If I have this, then the next step would be to include the Parivartana dynamic. Next question is from Diskela, 1st and 9 mutual exchange with Mars and Saturn. There are some other indications. So this is a very good exchange. This is about the Lakshmi Yoga, 9th Lord in the first Lord in the 9th. Very good blessings of elders. The specialization has no obstacles when it comes to some practice before the work, for studies, things like that. One also can get a lot of luck related to that Karaka. So, of course, that has to be supported by Jupiter and Navamsha, but the basis is there for this. So these two effects definitely will be there. And I would consider that, of course, the positive exchange, because this includes the positive houses like Kendra and Trikona, right? So this is in the category of Maha Parivartana, which brings good results. So whatever this machine is doing, it is bringing us the good results, or the results is good for us. And now from Gian Shiban 682, can you please explain the reason behind the signs and planets associated with the countries and continents? So this thing about the continents, it was shared on the PGC, and then it was made it openly. So we are also sharing this. And this is very nice list coming from Sanjay Ji, and it works perfectly. For example, for people who are many people who are already abroad, they are choosing between the Europe and US. So then we can compare Jupiter and Mercury. This is what I always do. Also, I was taught that these continents information will be available, especially when these planets are strong, right? So if you have like Jupiter very strong, then it could give a good luck in Europe, and especially if this is connected to the planets of work or foreign stay, right? So we have some dance between Navamsha and Rashi here related to those planets which can sustain you, like the Sattvic grahas and various houses from them. And always you can depend, of course, on the direction of the planets. So things like Mercury bringing north and Mars bringing the south, things like that. For the UK, because you also mentioned UK, we have seen that the Mars, because it's island, works very nice, and of course the Libra. So there are some signs related to the countries. I must say that I don't have a full list of these, because there is still research going on there. It's a cultural thing, and but we have seen that some indications are definitely there. Like we know that the Mercury and Gemini, in all those people who got the big success in US, this somehow get nicely activated in the chart. Marcus 5281 is asking about 7th Lord in Navamsha, placed in Scorpio or Aquarius, shows the absence of the spouse. This is tricky. The Scorpio and Aquarius have been taught that this is especially working in the context of taking planets from the Rashi to the Navamsha. And we can take here all of different levels. We can take the Karaka, Like we know, if you have moon in Aquarius or Scorpio, often you will have issues with your mother, if it's sun with your father, and so on. So we are taking the karaka level of the nature of the planets level. We can also take the Lord, right? We have also seen that the Lord is also working. Like Lagna Lord is all about you. If it's in those places, then also can bring some problems there. And now if we are taking the seventh Lord from the Navamsha in those signs, then also there will be some effect, but it's a little bit different because now we are working within that world, right? If you would take the seventh Lord from the Rashi to the Navamsha, then it has a different meaning because it's like you are looking at the blessing, at the whole thing from external point of view. Whilst when you are taking seventh Lord in the Navamsha, in those signs, then you are already within that world. It's already showing the spouse, right? Or his preference or his choices. So it's a little bit now more detailed, but also not so, it doesn't have so huge karmic impact when you are taking the seventh Lord from the Rashi. I would not go so extreme like absence of spouse. Definitely this one point doesn't show that. So if anyone is scaring you this way, this is not true. Then we have also a question from Gypsy1711. When a property will be bought or sold, I'm hoping to someday buy again, thank you. So this is quite easy and works perfectly in the D4, the fourth house, and yogas related to fourth house. The fourth Lord will always be active at the time of buying property. And the second house, because the 11 from the fourth, is showing the selling because you are now getting the money. So this is interesting thing which works quite nice. And D4 is for me quite interesting chart because it has this Kendra, just like Drekana. Drekana and Chaturtamsha, the property chart, they will always have the Trikona and Kendra, right, relation to the Rasi chart. So the planets and the ascendant will only shift in Kendra position. And therefore, these charts are very nice to study with the relation with the Rasi chart. So these Drekana and these Chaturtamsha, they have this interesting, I would call it aesthetic or architectural meaning because they will be in some nice symmetry, nice relationship position-wise to the Rasi chart, right? And whenever you are comparing the Varga to the Rasi chart, it will always be very, very powerful because you are just increasing the permutation. Now you are building the story. You are not starting from the scratch, but you are now making those connections, which is making these predictions much, much more powerful. And also, therefore, the Navamsha is so important because the Navamsha, how it's built, it also is very much Kendra dependent. Therefore, the ayanas are so important in the Navamsha because if you know the calculation of the Navamsha, you are always starting with the movable sign, right? So it always has this relation to these Kendras, and then you are jumping or progressing every 3 and 20 degrees from that ayana, right? From that Kendra. And now maybe the last question from Aditya Sangor 5323, AI and Jyotish, right? So AI is still fresh. We don't know how it will develop, how it will be. There are also many, like I have listened to that interview with, I think it was LinkedIn CAO. He was talking about the AI and he was quite positive about that. And he said also about different approach to AI. So there are these doomers, right? They are people who are more positive. So the doomers say that, oh, it's all going in that black mirror direction and things like that, that everyone will lose their job. And for some, it is all going in that direction of the default income, right, for everyone. And the whole work will be done by machines and only very creative work will be done by some humans. But the good thing is that we already panicked with similar tools, right? When, for example, auto-tune, this is a very good example. When auto-tune was coming into the music industry, everyone was panicking. What will happen now? Everyone can sing. So it will disturb that hierarchy of the skilled singers. right? Even if we go back to the machines, how the computer or the internet was coming up, then also the people were panicking. Of course, with the AI, the situation is, I think, much more dangerous because we are already seeing some of the positions are already replaced. Some people really lost their job because the company decided for the AI work. Going back to the astrology, those astrologers who are doing the simple things, and like most of the astrologers on the YouTube, right? They are taking the meaning of the house, they are connecting it to the meaning of sign, sometimes to the Lord, right? If they are talking about the sign, like for example, this planet will be in Taurus, so that would be the ninth Lord, right? Because now it is for this and that ascendant, this Jupiter will be the ninth Lord. And then they are taking the nature of the planet, and house. So if you are just connecting those three meanings, then the AI will do it better for you, right? Because the so-called imagination, how it can mix those simple meaning is already on the higher level than the average human being, right? So it can give you much better explanation what means, for example, Saturn in fifth in the Leo, if you just combine those meanings, right? It can also create some nice mixes, some nice manifestations which are based on those single meanings, right? How it can manifest. But if you are doing the real Jyotish, which is taking the human life, assigning that whole dynamics of those planets to those elements, and then see the timing using the more advanced yogas, more advanced vargas, different levels, which you have to unify together with the organic situation of the client, right? Because we are working with the Kala Desha Patra. We are, when we have a dialogue with the client, we understand which planet are related to which areas of life. So that part of this organic work and those more complex things, when you need to unify a lot of meanings, this will be quite challenging, right? But now maybe the last one from SMN BD2455. If planet is Ucha or Digbala or anything positive and have Parivartana with other, the planet loses its exaltation or positive effects because of Parivartana. This is very interesting because when we talk about this Parivartana and Avashta, we have basically two kinds of philosophies. One is that the Avashta or the strand or the state of planets, let's call it the state of planet, is changing in the Parivartana. The other philosophy is that the original state stays and it contributes to that exchange. It's fueling or not fueling that exchange, right? So which one is right? And we know, we've been taught that when two debilitated planets have Parivartana, like Moon in Scorpio and Mars in Cancer, if the changing the state would be the correct way, right? Changing states model, then these planets will get strong. These planets would get like an own sign. In our tradition, we say it's not so. They are weak, so they cannot help each other, right? So based on that, we know that the first model is the right. So the exaltation stays. These planets becomes the resource, the fuel for that whole, as I call it, machine, right? Because that will do for today. I hope you find this interesting and informative. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more like this. And if you'd like to see the previous sessions of questions and answers, then please consider watching this one.